If someone asked you, what would you do if you were not afraid? What would your answer be? What are you currently afraid of? Is there something you've always wanted to try, but you were too scared to seek, to ask, or to even try it? Feeling like you're emotionally in bondage due to your fears? I'm sure there are a couple of things because all of us have felt this way before. In this episode, we are going to talk about fear because it's just doing a lot and we need to just learn how to tackle it, deal with the challenges, and learn how to overcome it. In this episode, we are going to explore it all and learn how to live with it because fear actually never goes away. Ha ha! We're going to talk about that. I'm your host, Erica. Welcome to Save the Good Girl podcast. Let's get right into it. Oh, fear. Oh my gosh. Listen, no one has time for fear right now. Like, it has just done a lot. It's done a lot for me. I'm sure it has done a lot for you. So before we start going into all the details of fear, we need to actually understand what it is. Fear is defined as an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that something or someone is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. Of course, when you think about fear in the physical form, right? I am afraid of bugs. I am afraid of snakes because you don't want this creature or thing to harm you. And it's interesting to kind of flip it and reverse it when it comes to, well, flip it and reverse it like I'm Missy Elliott. I've been saying that a lot, like I'm Missy Elliott. But to flip it and reverse it in terms of our dreams, in terms of our hopes, in terms of all the things we want to accomplish, and presently, everything just seems so far. And I know how that feels because you want it and you want to work towards it. It's in your mind, but the execution part is hard because the belief system is so janky. And we've heard a lot of different acronyms for fear. False evidence appearing real, forget everything and run, face everything and rise, fuck everything and run, right? There's a lot of acronyms that we've heard. And honestly, they're true, right? False evidence appearing real is true because there is no proof that what you're telling yourself is factual because you haven't tried it yet or you haven't tackled it yet in its entirety. But one thing I have not heard and something that I've come up with, fear is really finding every alternative reason. You're finding every reason to not start, to not move, to not try, etc. Finding every alternative reason. And that's what fear does. Fear makes you rationalize. Well, I can't do this because I can't do that because I've tried this one time and it didn't work. That's what fear does, right? It keeps us in this place of just being safe, very safe, because we don't want to go further because we're afraid that it may fail. We're afraid that it might not work. And your beliefs really drives the fear. If your beliefs were in a car, they would be the driver. Fear is on the passenger side and you're in the back. And it's like your beliefs are really driven by you. So you need to be the driver. Your beliefs is right next to you and fear is in the back because fear is something that we all deal with and we all tackle. It's just something that's repetitive. And repetition also drives fear. When you're constantly repeating the same story in your mind, that's what you're going to believe because that's all you've been listening to. That's all you've been hearing. That's all you've been saying to yourself. And earlier this week, we talked about celebration blues, right? When you're celebrating your birthday and how sometimes when your birthday comes around, you're happy, you're excited, you're in the moment, you're having a great time. People are here to celebrate you. And in those short moments of going to the bathroom or coming home or when you really have time to reflect, sometimes you get sad because you think about all the things you have not accomplished and the fear that it won't happen because you've been waiting and you've been trying and you've been pushing and you have not seen the results. So it does get a little discouraging. You also have a fear of being judged, shame. When you put yourself out there is full vulnerability. Me doing this podcast was a huge fear of mine. I didn't know if people would listen. I didn't know if it would affect anyone. I didn't know if people would say, oh my God, what's she talking about? Like, this doesn't make any sense. I just didn't know because I'm really putting myself out there for the world to hear. Like, wherever you are in the world, if you find this podcast, you can listen to it. And I know my intentions behind it. I know why I want to do it, but I was so afraid to put it out. And then I was like, oh my God, I need to learn how to edit. I need to learn how to do this. I need to learn how to do that. And what fear did was take all of those concerns and exasperate it. So it was like, yeah, well, you can't because you have to do this and you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's like, that's a lot. That is a lot. When you think about, for example, you think about your favorite restaurant, okay? A place you love. It's unique. You love this. You love this particular dish. Like, I love crab legs. I love crab legs, right? So there's a place called Hot and Juicy that I love. And I'm like, nah, if Hot and Juicy never opened, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. But you think about your favorite restaurant, the place that has your favorite sandwich, your favorite pasta, your favorite whatever. Like, whoever started that, they started from somewhere. And I'm pretty sure when they first opened up, they were also nervous of, are people going to like this food? Are they going to like this very unique dish? And you think about these restaurants that are very unique, that are filled every single week and they're packed. And they're not a chain restaurant. All of that started with a dream. And you think about artists, right? I like Jhené Aiko. I like Snow Allegra. I like a lot of different artists and I enjoy their music very much. And I think about, what if they never started? What if they thought that the songs they wrote were useless? What if they thought that their voice wasn't, strong enough? Because when you think about singers, you think about singers like Whitney Houston and all these really big voices. And what if Jhené Aiko and all these other people who have more softer tones said, oh my gosh, my voice is too soft and I can't do it. People are not going to gravitate towards me. What if they never started? You know what I'm saying? Or Apple. You think about Apple, the revolution of Apple with Steve Jobs. What if he never started? You don't think all those people got fears? You don't think all of them second guessed themselves 1,000 times and failed 5,000 times? You'll never know who would be so impressed with your willingness. And I'm not even talking about being an entrepreneur. I'm just talking about fear overall. Just fear overall. You'll be surprised of yourself and your capabilities because fear limits that. When you have fear, you have no idea of your potential. Your potential is skewed. It's skewed. It's like an altered exam. It's like you can't get the results because it's blurry. It's not filled out properly. And that's what fear does. It really, really skews the focus. And when you think about your fears, what do you really think about is the process, right? The process. And we have to focus really on the end result. If I spent all of my energy thinking about, oh my gosh, I don't know how to edit. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to put a website together. Oh my gosh, I don't know how, what mic to choose, or I don't know what my social media is going to look like, my logo, my this, my that. If I spent the time just thinking about that alone, I would have never started this podcast ever, because it's just so much going on in my mind. And I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do it. I had to focus on the end result. The process will be there. But in order to really push past fear, or just to start introducing courage into your life, you have to think about the end result, because you're going to have your trials and tribulations on your way there. That's fine. That's okay. It's expected. Expect it. I'm not going to come on here and say, oh yeah, once you tackle your fear, everything is great. No. As you know, I have a very different spin on how I view things. And I feel like when it comes to fear, we really, really need to focus on changing the repetition. We need to focus on the fact that we can't give up. And it's so easy to give up because you're tired. You're emotionally drained. It's taking a lot out of you just thinking about it. You're like, oh my gosh, this is too much. But you have to think about, how would this affect someone else, right? How is it that you pushing past whatever fear it is, how can that inspire someone else? How can you give inspiration to someone else? More importantly, inspiration to you, because you actually did it. So when you think about your favorite restaurant, your favorite artist, your gadgets that you're using, the designers that you love, all of these people had an idea. When you think about people you listen to, everyone had an idea, okay? It started from somewhere. So it's like when you think about fear, again, I look at it as finding every alternative reason to not try, to not do this, to not do that. To flip it, we got to find every alternate reason to keep going. We need to utilize fear to our benefit and not look at it as a bad thing, because fear is not going to go away. And sometimes it really can confuse us. And we think that we know, oh, well, I knew this wasn't going to happen. And guess what? It was fear, because fear can really confuse you in your intuition. Let's talk about that. So here's the thing. We actually don't give fear enough props. Fear is extremely supportive. I mean, it is probably the most supportive factor that we've ever encountered. It's very supportive. Fear will guide you to nothing. To nothing. It's very supportive. And I wanted to talk about the fact that fear will support all of the thoughts you are afraid to act out. I am saying this slow because it's real and that's deep. And you should write it down. But no, fear definitely it supports all the thoughts we are afraid to act out. We are afraid to speak out. We are afraid to just be. And what happens is there's a bit of confusion with fear versus intuition. Okay. When you don't understand your fear, when you don't know what it is, it will confuse you and have you mixed up with what is actually reality and what is actually in your mind. It will have every excuse to let you know that it, quote unquote, wasn't meant to be. After one failure, fear will say, see, I told you. I told you you shouldn't have done it. I knew I shouldn't have done it. I knew it. I knew it. I had a feeling. Something told me. I had a feeling. And here's the thing about those feelings and what something told you, okay? When fear is present, that will confuse you, your intuition, and your intention. I'm going to get a little deep right now. It's going to confuse you, because it's not your intuition. That feeling is from the fear. And we need to understand what intuition is in terms of guiding us to protect us, right? Fear is not here to protect, okay? We need to detect fear, but it's not here to protect us in terms of us being free from ourselves. If you think about dating and finding love again, if somebody broke your heart, really broke your heart, you've been hurt, you've been in pain. I've been there. There was a time where I'm just like, I just don't know what to do. And I'm nervous and I'm afraid. And I'm just like, I don't want to get hurt again. I don't want to get hurt again. I don't want to get hurt again. But if I focus on not getting hurt again, how can I make room for the possibility of seeing someone authentically for who they are? Instead, I'm taking inventory and making a checklist of all the things that they're doing so they don't hurt me. And when you do that, you take the fun out of the experience. And then all of a sudden, your communication with that person is not the best, because you're not coming from a place of concern and you're like, hey, I want to talk to you. Your insecurity and the fear that's mixed together is altering the authenticity of that relationship. And the minute that that person misses a phone call or they don't text you back on time or something happens, I knew it. I knew he was an asshole. I knew it. I knew he was an asshole. It's like, well, was he? And let me pause. He could be. She could be. Okay. They could be an asshole. There's a possibility. I'm not denying that. But what I'm saying is, when fear is present, it's confusing. Do we really know that? It is very confusing. And when you are afraid, of putting yourself out there again and loving again. Every single thing, because you're so sensitive and because fear is so strong within you, any little thing this person does, you are counting it. Every little thing they do wrong or whatever, you are taking inventory. And it's not fair. It's not fair to them, to be honest, because they can never live up to that expectation of perfection ever. And your fear has built you up to believe that you deserve to have this perfect person that just knows you oh so well. And we have to understand that we're all imperfect, right? None of us are perfect. None of us. We want to find the match that's for us, but we're not perfect. So the man of your dreams, the woman of your dreams, they will come with imperfections. Fear will make you say, well, because of this person is not for me. That may not be the case. That may not be the case. When you think about a new opportunity, let's say at your job, when you have fears at your job, you're not showing your authentic self. You're not showing how smart you are. The fact that you can handle this project, you can get promoted. You're not pushing yourself out there enough, right? You have too many like nerves and just nervous. You're just so nervous. Your nerves takes over and you can't speak up. You might be in a meeting and you have all the answers. You're so smart. You're so bright. You think about school. If you're in school, you're so bright. You know everything, but you're not participating in class. You're not because you're afraid. Again, with fear, it pushes you out. So vulnerability has to be like it has to be out there. And fear, what fear does, it takes vulnerability and it captures it and it sucks it in. So when you have fear, there's no way for you to be vulnerable because you can't express how you feel because you're scared. So you have to be careful with it really being reality, or is it really the fear messing up with your intuition that's making you think it's reality? Because when fear is the driver, it wants you to be stagnant because it's saying to you, I'm going to protect you. Do not raise your hand in class. They're going to laugh at you. Do not fall in love again. You're going to get hurt. Don't try to get that promotion. Who are you to get that? You're not going to get a promotion. That's what fear does. It talks us out of greatness. It talks us out of pushing ourselves further. And this is why I wanted to talk about fear versus intuition, because I've seen how people say, I had a feeling and I knew and I this and I that. When you get deeper, it's like, did you really know? Or did you already have this in your back pocket due to the thoughts in your mind? And now it's coming out and now you believe it. Fear allows, like I said, nobody gives fear props. Fear is very supportive. So once you feed it and you feed all of these things to your fears, yes, it will come out, it will be pronounced, and it will be there presently waiting for you. What I'm saying is this. I do not want you or myself to limit what we really want out of our lives. I don't care how old you are. I don't care where you are in your life. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't want us to limit another time because of fear. And moving past fear is a lot because it goes with your belief system, and fixing your belief system is a lot. And just me being vulnerable, I'm working on that. I'm still working on my belief system because sometimes your thoughts really does get to you and you're just like, it's hard to focus on all of the positive when presently you don't really feel that way. But we need to tackle it. We need to be head on with it. We have to understand the difference between our fear versus our intuition. Whatever you feed, your energy goes where your energy flows, as Lisa Nichols say. If your energy is focused on all of the things that are going to go wrong, guess what? The universe has to prove you're right, so therefore it will go wrong. If you go on a date and you're like, oh, I know it's going to be bad. I know. It's going to be bad because the universe has to prove you right. If you try something and you say, oh, I know I'm going to fail, you will. But here's the thing about failure and things going wrong. People are so afraid of failure, and failure is here to teach us something. Failure is there to build us up. Fear will make you believe that you can't fail. Fear makes you believe that everything has to be perfect. And I'm a victim of that. There needs to be a fear abuse hotline because fear kicks my ass a lot. It kicks. I mean, when I say it kicks, like I got jumped because fear, doubt, all of them, they all jumped me. they, they all jumped me. Okay. But I stand I stand tall because I was like, no fear, no doubt, no insecurities. All of y'all gonna gang up on me. It happens. It's okay. I didn't die. I'm still here. So that's what it and it feels like that. It's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It is a lot. So here's the thing. I got a recipe for you. I have a solution. We're going to figure this out together. There's certain things that I would like for you guys to think about and focus on. And we're going to get into that because when you feel like you've been getting jumped and you just feel like your thoughts are getting too much, we need to learn how to identify it, attack it, and then come up with something that's attainable. I'm not going to sit here and say to you, yeah, you can lose all your fears today. No, it is a process and it takes time. But the fact that you acknowledge it, you already have made the first step. We're going to talk about some more things you can do to learn how to deal with fear. We will get back to this fabulous episode, but I just wanted to let you know that you can find Save the Good Girl on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube. There is also a chance for you to be featured on the show. Check out the link in the description to send me a voice message. In addition to the podcast, did you know that Save the Good Girl has a blog? Be a part of VIP by subscribing to the email list on savethegoodgirl.com. So many options to stay connected. All right, let's get back to the episode. To tackle fear, we need to do an investigation. We need to investigate where the source is coming from. Did someone say something to you? Did you see something? Do you just really feel that whatever it is you're trying to tackle, it just doesn't seem feasible? Why don't you feel that it's feasible? What is really the source holding you back? Usually, when we think about that, it's a very quick answer. But when you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, then we get to the true source of what really is the problem. We need to see how it makes you feel and what are your thoughts around it. Fear can cause you to be extremely uncomfortable. We do not like to be uncomfortable. So, therefore, in order to not feel uncomfortable, we decide we're just not going to deal with it because it just brings us to this place that's just not, it's not in a good space for us, right? It's just not in a good space. But we have to investigate the source. Where did this derive from? And really take your time. Like when you think about what you're afraid of tackling, what you're afraid of doing, what you're afraid of trying, what are you afraid, whatever it is, think about where is this coming from? Did something happen when you were younger? Did you see something? Like, where did it come from, right? We need to understand where it started from. We also need to understand that rejection is necessary. Like I've stated, fear will make you think that if it's not perfect, it's not right. And if it's not the perfect guy, not the perfect job, not the perfect launch, not the perfect promotion, not the perfect job, like it will make you feel that it's not right. Rejection is necessary. It adds a little kick to your recipe, a little spice, you know? And it really adds the triumph to your story. We love to see a good underdog story. I don't think anybody wants to hear, yeah, so I was never afraid. My life is perfect. I had a perfect job, the perfect man, the perfect woman, the perfect whatever. And like I just never had any issues. Everything was just perfect. It's like you would click off so quickly. Like, what are you talking? It's just not realistic. It's not realistic. And we need to understand that after one failure, fear will say, I told you you couldn't do it. You will have to fight that. You have to fight to keep going. Because if not, you're going to let fear win. And we cannot do that. Because, fear, insecurities, doubts, they love to jump people. But you need to show how strong you are by fighting them in your mind. And another big concept that we need to, in order to like deal with fear, another big concept that we need to really, really, really just let it sink in, it's not going to disappear. It is not going to go away because guess what? When you tackle one thing, you will be afraid of the next step because eventually and naturally, you're going to want to grow. Example, if you meet someone and you're dating them, you may want to be in a relationship. And then from there, you guys are being very serious. You may want to get married. And then from there, you may want to have your home. And then from there, you may want to have kids and etc. Right? So every level you get to, there's going to be a fear. If you've been promoted, let's say from an intern to an assistant to a coordinator to an assistant manager to a regional to a director to a VP, every level you get to, it is going to be scary. So fear is not going away. You're going to bring in new fears. Learn to embrace them and challenge it. And remember the steps that you've done before to tackle it. Remember that, hey, you know what? I've done this before and I will and I can do it again. I failed beautifully. I will succeed again. I've been hurt before by this relationship. I will fall in love again. And it's going to be amazing. And if you keep saying that to yourself all the time, it will. You have to have the courage to do it, and you have to do it scared. This is something that took me some time to get used to because, again, fear allows you to have a perfectionist attitude. And I, again, am a victim of a perfectionist attitude. So I always thought that when you have, like, when people say I'm fearless, I saw it as, yeah, I'm going to do everything. I have no fear. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking, oh my God, that's great. So I always looked at pushing past your fears as being so confident that you could do everything. And that may be true for some people, but honestly, do it scared. Do it, surprise yourself. Do it scared. This right here that I'm doing right now, I'm doing it scared. I'm doing it scared. And with fear, like I said, we don't give fear enough props. When you have mastered dealing with fear, you gain courage. And courage simply is fear and prayer combined. You're committed to the possibility. That's what courage is. Another thing we really have to do, we need to stop saying could have, should have, and would have. Those are very dangerous words. Could have, should have, and would have. When you have decided that you are going to do something today, throw those words away. Because guess what? It doesn't matter. So what? You could have, should have done this 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 7 days ago. It doesn't matter. You're doing it now. Applaud yourself for that. Who cares? I did not think about the fact that people have been telling me for years to do something like with the podcast or do a fashion blog or whatever for years. And if I sat there and I thought about all the things I should have, could have, and would have done, again, those thoughts would have gotten to me and I would not have been able to successfully launch my podcast because I'm thinking about all the things I could have done. So we need to get those words out of our vocabulary. You've made a decision now. And that is the most important thing. Just acknowledging it. You listening to this episode is a big deal because now I'm challenging you to think about what I'm saying and utilize these tools for yourself. And because you're even thinking about it, that's amazing. And you need to applaud yourself for that 100%. Here's the thing. I never knew what was on the other side of fear. I've heard that a lot. Do you know what's on the other side of fear? And the truth is, I never knew. I'm a very safe, sign the dotted line, read everything type of girl before I sign. I read everything. I never knew what was in the other side of fear. I knew sadness. I knew depression. I knew giving up. I knew just being sad. I knew being confused. I knew having that feeling. I never knew what was on the other side. And I finally made the decision to say, I want to find out what is on the other side. I don't know. And I got to this place where the curiosity was just so large. And it said, listen, you have to put yourself out there. Be very realistic with your expectations when you do. Don't go on a dating site and think after 3 swipes, if you don't find your Prince Charming or your girl, that it's a wrap. It shouldn't be like that, right? We need to understand too that once we actually go out there, let's be kind to ourselves. Let's give ourselves a little bit of time, a little bit of time. And not to my final point about fear is the medication. The medication for fear, really, truly, you have to believe in yourself. You have to investigate the why. Your source, though, is your why. There it is. This is how you deal with fear. You have to live with it because every level is going to challenge you. There's no such thing as I have eliminated fear from my life and I'm living my best life because I'm not fearless. Bullshit. It's not true. Because every level that you have gained will cause a little bit of like nerves. Okay. And what I don't want for you or for me is to let those nerves stop us from our greatness. We're going to challenge those nerves. We're going to deal with those nerves. We're going to talk about it. We're going to write about it. Whatever it is that you need to do. Journaling is awesome. Your gratitude journal is awesome. Get back to that space. Fulfill yourself with your self-care. This is why those things are important because it allows you to be still and for you to really gather your thoughts and push them towards positivity and push them towards to I can't to I can, right? So with fear, we have to understand a couple of things, know where they come from, investigate the source, understand that rejection is necessary. Okay, it is necessary. Do not quit after one failure. You have to keep going. Fear will tell you that you shouldn't, but you have to keep going. Know that fear does not disappear. With every success that you have, you will gain new, fresh, brand new, shiny fears, like super shiny. Have the courage to do it. Throw away could have, should have, would have, done. We're done with that. It's done. It doesn't matter what happened last year. Throw it away. And understand that to know what's on the other side of fear, you have to know your why. Why do you want to fall in love again? What would that do for you emotionally? Why do you want to get promoted? Is it just about the money? Or is it something that you want to prove to yourself? Do you want to be that beacon of light for your family? Or you're the first one graduating from college? Why are you going to school? Why are you deciding to be a business owner? Is it to fulfill a passion? Why are you working so hard to get this car? Are you tired of taking the bus? We need to understand the emotions attached to the why. Why are you doing it? And when you think about that and you really take the time to do it, it will come to you. Here's an exercise that I have for you. When you have a moment after you've done your self-care routine, whatever that is, because in order to do this, you need to be in a space of calm. You need to be in a space of ready to receive. Get a piece of paper. Really jot down your fears, like what you're really, really afraid of. Like jot it all down. Challenge yourself to go deeper and understand where those fears came from, what happened. Maybe you saw something or whatever. Challenge that. And then from there, take the steps that I told you about the should have, could have, would have, all of those things. Develop a really reasonable and feasible action plan for yourself of what you can do today to get yourself to a better space, to eliminate the thoughts. I'm not even talking about the action. I'm literally talking about your thoughts. What can we do today to change your thoughts, to get you into action and to get you into the execution, to get you to the end result, to get you to the process? So I want you to take a piece of paper, really think about this, like really, really go deep with yourself. Take your time and make sure that you're in a space of calm and serenity and peace because it's hard to do this when your soul is disrupted. So whatever self-care you need to do, get into that space and really think about that. And I want you to think about your why. Why? Why do you want to why do you want to push past these fears? Do you want to be an inspiration to your children? Do you want to be an inspiration to yourself? Why do you want to do it? And I think when you think about all of these things, it will really ease the fear and you'll feel so much better and you'll have the energy to do it. When I thought about my why of why I want to do this podcast, why was this so important for me to do it? It's because I'm seeing how so many people have been just in emotional bondage within themselves and they forgot who they are for years. And I've seen how it stifled them, including myself. And I just don't want that for people. I don't want to see that. So Save the Good Girl for me is really saving the good parts so that we can expand it so we can really live. And when you really get to live, you get to show others how to do it. And that's why I want to do this. Maybe listening to this episode, you'll share this with a friend who'll share this with a friend who will share this with a friend. And just imagine the power, right, of us. And when I thought about my why, I didn't care about editing anymore. I didn't care about not knowing how to do the website. I didn't care about making sure that everything was super duper perfect because my purpose, my reasoning to do this was greater and deeper than all the trivial things that I could learn by reading articles or watching videos on YouTube or just investigating, doing my own research. Those things were trivial for me. My why really pushed me out. It really solidified that, you know what? Yeah, I'm a little afraid, but you know what? It's okay. It's all right. So I want to challenge you to really go deeper within your why. Why do you want to push past whatever fear this is? We need to break free emotionally. We need to learn how to utilize fear as something good for us because fear is letting us know that we're going somewhere. Fear is a direction. It's like a directory. When you're afraid of something, something good is about to happen. Emotionally and spiritually. Okay. I'm not talking about snakes. So don't take what I'm saying and go to a zoo and be like, oh, somebody listen, I don't have time. Okay. Okay. But when you are reaching new heights and you are a little like afraid, something amazing is about to happen. Make fear your companion. And remember my analogy before, I didn't kick fear out the car. Oh no, fear's right there. Fear's in the back. You're the driver. Your beliefs are right in the side of you on the passenger side. Fear's in the back. We're going to put fear in the trunk, but it's there. And it's showing you and letting you know you're getting somewhere. And I believe in you and I support you and I know that you can do it. So let's get there. Let's get to our greatness. It's time. Woo, that felt good. That felt good. I hope that after listening to this episode, you were able to find value. Time is moving so quickly, and I'm hoping that whatever fears that you do have, you're able to make it your companion, your anchor, something that's going to motivate you to really push past what you're doing. Fear has allowed me to push me out of my comfort zone. I'm a very safe person. My friends and family will tell you. And this is really something outward for me. And I'm grateful that it has done that because if it didn't, I would not be here speaking to you right now. And just understanding that with fear, it is very safe and secure mentally. You know, it keeps you at standard. It keeps you at satisfactory. And it doesn't allow you to really live your life, right? Like it keeps you to a place where it's like, okay, I'm here, but we want to go further. We want to go higher. And it's really your turn and your time to turn things around and really push yourself into new heights. And whenever you get a little confused about fear, in terms of it being secure and being safe, you have to ask yourself, do you want to be secure or do you want to be fulfilled? Right. That was deep. That was deep. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Save the Good Girl. I am your host, Erica E., and I cannot wait to talk to you again next week. Have you tackled your fears? Did this episode motivate you? If it did, please let me know. I would love to hear. In the description, you can actually send me a voice message, like a real voice message that can be featured on the show. You can contact me on my website, social media. Like, let me know. Let me know. How have you conquered that? How have you pushed past that? I really would love to hear it. All right, guys, I cannot wait to talk to you again next week. You can do it. Push past your fears and switch gears. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. But anyways, bye. I feel like we're connecting, so let's make sure we're connected. You can find Save the Good Girl on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Did you know about the Save the Good Girl blog? Yes, there is a blog. Check out SaveTheGoodGirl.com to subscribe to the fabulous VIP email list and be the first to know about new podcast episodes, new blog posts, and giveaways. In addition to listening to Save the Good Girl on many platforms like Apple, Google, Spotify, and many more, you can also subscribe to the Save the Good Girl YouTube channel if YouTube is more of your thing. There are so many options to stay connected and be a part of the Save the Good Girl community. For all updates, or if you just want to contact me to say hello, ask me a question, or send me a comment, check out the contact section on SaveTheGoodGirl.com.